skiers, if you are struggling with that dreaded A-frame while carving where your knees collapse in and you form a big ol' A instead of riding parallel, you're not alone. But don't worry, I will share tips I am working on to help us fix it and get those clean, powerful arcs on the snow. I also did a ton of skiing this past week, and I am now at day 34 of the season with close to 500,000 of vertical feet. And I want to share the joys and surprises when you ski the East. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Sometimes it's hard to focus, just to persevere and just to make it. But everything that's within your grasp, you gotta take it, you gotta go harder. Just dig deeper inside you to find that method, that mode that wants that hunger to survive, just to ride the grind, to take it the way you gotta take it and never stop.
New to me, welcome. I am Sunny, a Gen X woman rediscovering the joys of skiing after a 30-year hiatus. I am pushing my limits, building confidence, and soaking in the absolute pleasure of being able to live a semi-ski bum life. I am glad you're back for another week, and hello to my new skiing friends. I'm so glad you're joining me. So, A-frame. An A-frame happens when your inside knee doesn't match the movement of your outside leg, form that A shape. This limits your ability to tip both skis properly, reduces edge grip, and makes turns feel unbalanced. Instead, we want both skis to tip together in harmony for strong, controlled carves. Now, an interesting thing, when I did my research, I learned that women skiers often A-frame more than men, and there are a few reasons why. First, anatomy plays a role. Women generally have wider pelvis and a greater Q angle, which is the angle between the hips and the knees, which makes it more natural for the knees to collapse inward. And if we're not mindful of this, it can lead to an A-frame stance. Guilty, I need to be hyper aware of my knees now. Second, leg strength distribution. Women tend to have relatively stronger quads compared to their hamstrings, which can impact how we engage our edges. If the inside knee isn't actively working, it can lag behind, causing an A-frame. I talked about this with my using the inside ski as a training wheel video, so you can go ahead and check it out here. Third, ski boot fit. Many women's ski boots don't accommodate our lower calf position, making it harder to flex the ankle properly. If you feel like your boots are restricting movement, a professional boot fit could help improve your stance and alignment. I am looking at doing this to see if maybe I need to have some canting done, though I also did learn that women's boots are designed to allow for a slight knock knee position. And finally, skiing style and confidence. Some women take a more cautious approach to skiing, which can mean they rely more on the outside ski rather than engaging both legs equally. When we actively use both skis and trust our edges, an A-frame starts to disappear. Or so we hope. I know I struggle with confidence, and I will talk more about how I'm pushing myself, and I know a lot of women skiers at my home mountain, the coaches who are absolute champions, but I also know a fair amount of women skiers who are extremely timid and prefer to stick to the groomers only. Before we get into talking more about fixing your A-frame, let me share a little bit about my past 6 days of skiing because there were some great lessons. Thursday, it was all about snow, which as a Northeast skier was both a challenge and an amazing learning experience. Thursdays are my days that I have my lessons. I was with my group, and actually my coach boyfriend joined us. And the best tip of the day, it actually came from him, which is no surprise there. I was saying on the chairlift to my lesson colleagues that while the snow, which was about 4 to 5 inches of heavier snow, was tough, it was a great skill building day because we were all over the place at the beginning. And coach turned to me and said, it was a good day to be athletic. Wow. That hit me and the other people on the chairlift because once I embraced that mindset and started moving my body more and anticipating the bouncing around and having fun, the timidness about the snow conditions disappeared. The thing I learned today is when you're dealing in deeper snow and not groomed is to be more athletic. So I was working on being athletic and just being playful and having fun and enjoying. And we went up some really, I don't know if you can see, all the way over there are some whalebacks. And we would go up on the whalebacks and down. Then for the last run of the lesson, we went down 3 jumps on the slope style course. We got a lot of stuff happening on our mountain. And I was the last one to go. And we were standing there at the top watching everyone timidly turn to just kind of like boop, go over the crest. Coach turns to me and says, "You don't need to turn, just go straight down." Well, I did. And the last jump, I got some serious air and I freaked out and I landed too far back, crashing in front of everyone in my whole lesson. And now I think I understand what whiplash feels like. It's getting better, but hey, you got to go big or go home. Friday was about glades and I'm working on building confidence there. Right now, I am working on a stretch of glades without stopping. Like usually, depending on the terrain, I'll do a couple of turns, stop. I turn into a sweaty bee. I don't know if it's nervousness or I'm just working myself and I need to stop and take a breath to regroup. But I am enjoying that. The beautiful thing about glades is that I'm not getting a ton of speed, though I am having difficulty when you get into that deep groove track and you can't shimmy or schmear to slow yourself down and you start to pick up speed. And I feel like I'm more on a luge track than on a ski slope. So I need to practice more because it freaks me out when I have no options. Like if there's no place for me to make a stop, I just need to get in there more. But do you have any tips that you use for glades? I would love to hear your tips. This weekend was throwing us all kinds of weather. It was another snowy one, but I had a blast skiing with a friend who's trying to get out more. It was Sunday. Oh boy, Sunday was a challenge. We had high winds, snow, sleet, freezing rain. We got totally glazed and ice to the point that eventually all the lifts and the gondolas shut down. And I was saying to people that it was amazing, like got glazed with ice. I could maybe go 15, 20 feet. I would have to stop, put my hand to melt the ice so I could see. And then when we went into the lodge, I felt like I was an egg cracking because it was just like I would move and sheets of ice would just come off. But that was an experience and a test of resilience, but I had a ball. I also got some new skis to add to my quiver. Right now, I ski on Rosignol Experience, and Coach thought it might be a good idea to have something wider, so I went from a 78 underfoot to a 92 Nordica Santa Ana. And hot diggity dog, for the moment I put those on, I was a happy girl. I was easily maneuvering through the deep snow, the chop, and even got myself in the glades and was so proud of myself. Monday and Tuesday were solo skiing days for me with high winds both days, but I got some really good focused work on with using Carve and the digital coaching and listening in my ear and paying close attention to my edge similarity, which is the main metric that I'm working on right now. And I would hear the percentages for every turn so I could make the slight adjustments to get myself back into the higher percentages. I'm consistently hitting the 60 to 70% range when I focus. And on Tuesday, I even had a really high score run. I'll have you take a look at it here. Look at that. I was so proud of myself. Plus, I started incorporating a Ted Ligety tip from Carv, which he suggested move my boots like I'm pedaling backwards on a stationary bike. It's an interesting sensation. I can already feel the impact on my turns when I'm concentrating on doing it. I was so close to beating my high IQ. Will I make it to the Mountain Master by the end of the season? We shall see. Because based on the Carve metrics, I need to get a lot of things clicking before I get into the 140s. So I'm at 133 right now. Let's get back and talk about A-framing and some tips that I am working on. Number 1 is widening my stance. If your feet are too close together, it's hard to move your legs independently. Try standing hip width apart so both your skis can tip effectively. I struggle with this because I'm either want to go back to my skiing style from the 1980s where my boots are together, or I'm trying what I think a carving turn should look like, and then I get too wide, which probably accentuates my A-frame. Number 2, activate the inside ski. Don't just let the inside ski go along for a ride. Actively tip it. That little toe edge, engaging both legs for a better balance and symmetry. Why doing my railroad tracks are so important. Number 3, keep a strong inside knee, thinking about pulling your inside knee slightly up and in rather than letting it collapse inward. This helps keep your legs working together. Coach told me to point my inside knee toward the hill in the direction I want to turn. Number 4, flex from the ankles, not just the knees. Instead of just driving your knees into the turn, focus on flexing your ankles and rolling your edges progressively into the snow. This leads to better carving angles. All easier said than done. But hey, that's why I'm out there. And lastly, fixing your A-frame takes awareness and practice, but once you get it, your carving will feel way smoother, more powerful, and way more fun. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to get rid of my A-frame, but it's going to take a lot of work, So let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and consider subscribing to follow more of my adventures. So see you on the slopes and next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.
That's how I give it up.